Am I the a-hole for abandoning my parents at an island in the Caribbean so I could get back to our cruise in time? I graduated from high school back in December. As a gift, my parents got me a cruise. It was also for my 18th birthday. It was also a family vacation. We usually stay at all-inclusive resorts, but I have always wanted to go on a cruise. I told my parents it was different and that if we went on excursions we had to follow the schedule no matter what. Well, it was a week-long cruise and they would not head back to the ship when I said it was time to go. They were busy shopping and bargaining with the locals. I finally said that I was heading back to the ship. My mom waved me off. They missed the departure. By a lot. Like 45 minutes. They got a hold of me through WhatsApp. They wanted to know why I didn't get the boat to wait for them. I wanted to scream that they were not going to inconvenience 3,998 people because two could not understand what a schedule was. They ended up having to fly to the next port from there and it was expensive. They are pissed at me for leaving them behind. I don't know what I was supposed to do. They literally told me that they knew what they were doing. I wish I had never asked for this. They are making me miserable because I left without them.
Not the a-hole, they seriously think the ship will delay for 45 minutes. You know, the docks and ships have a schedule to keep. They are adults and need to be responsible for getting back on time, which is something you have figured out in less than 6 months of being an adult. At least you don't have to go on any more vacations with them after this.
Not the a-hole. I've been on a cruise. They make it crystal clear that the ship waits for no one. Parents fucked around and found out.
Not the a-hole. Your parents are acting entitled. Tell them you saved them the expense of a third ticket to the next port.
Google, cruise ship leaves passengers behind, then show them. Story after story of the same thing happening to others who didn't make it back before departure from port. They are lucky they were able to fly to next port. Many others have been stranded or worse.
Your parents are in the wrong. I don't do cruises, but I have some experience with them because I travel to a place where cruise ships are common. I also thought passengers were warned that the ship leaves no matter who is on board. You would never have been able to prevent the cruise ship from leaving. They have a schedule and they keep to it. The ship waits for no one. This is all on your parents. They didn't respect the ship schedule. Not the a-hole.
What precisely do they think you could have done? Kidnapped the captain? Staged your own drowning? You didn't abandon them, they abandoned you. Don't let them weasel word this around to being your fault in any way, shape, or form. I'm really sorry your parents have ruined this for you. It's pretty pathetic of them to blame you for their extremely easy to avoid deliberate bad decision. They owe you at least 2 apologies, one for ignoring your sage advice in the first place, the second for behaving like spoiled 4-year-olds. Not the a-hole, and I really hope you make your parents read this thread.
Am I the a-hole for using my husband's salary to make a point to his family after he told me I should stand up for myself instead of expecting him to do it for me? My husband and I are doing okay financially. We make enough to not worry about rent and necessities. We are saving a decent amount and have scope for growth in our careers. I make a little more than 1/3 of our combined income. We are both in our late 30s and we have 2 6-year-old boys. I have never liked my husband's family, most of them anyways, because they have a lot of old-fashioned opinions and don't really approve of me. We don't have a lot of contact, so it's okay though. My husband's cousin's wedding is this week and they are getting married in our city, so he offered for his parents and aunt and uncle to stay with us. Bride and groom are renting a place. It is a bit of squeeze, but it is working. They have been here for 2 days now, and on the first day, I heard them having a whole discussion on how it's so sad that our children won't get to have a proper childhood with a mom at home, like my husband and his cousin got. While they were in the living room and I was in the kitchen and they knew I could hear. I was stewing, but I don't really like confrontation, so I didn't say anything. Later, I asked my husband if he could please tell them to shut up with the snide comments about me. He said that's just their opinion and it's not really hurting me. If I'm bothered, I should learn to stick up for myself and that he can't always do it for me. This sort of struck a nerve because it's true that I usually ask him to do small things like telling the drive-through person if our order is wrong, because it just makes me feel weird and guilty. But somehow it feels like more his responsibility because it's his family involved here. Anyways, so today my father-in-law made one more pointed comment during dinner and I said your son makes XXX. We live in a big city and rent is XXX. We literally cannot live on his salary, so I don't know why you think I should be home all day. They were pretty quiet after that. Now my husband is really angry with me because I put him down in front of his family who are all richer than us and will look down on him. Am I the a-hole?
Definitely not the a-hole. Your husband and in-laws, however. Common sense dictates that if your family has a problem with your spouse, you have their back. Still, I think you handled things perfectly given the fact that your husband is a textbook and doesn't defend you when he should. He doesn't get to be mad for the way you chose to do what he said. You just took his advice. Also, is he a teenager? Why is he so pressed about his family knowing such trivial things as your rent and general income? If he didn't want you to say those things, he should have had your back, I guess.
It's perfectly fine for his spouse to be shamed by his family in their own home, but when he's up on the chopping block, it's now a problem. Per OP.
Agreed. At first I was siding with the husband until I read that he was upset. She put him down like stating the facts to counter an argument had no intentions of putting him down at all.
Not the a-hole, but your husband and his family sure are. He didn't want to handle it and seemed perfect content for them to drag you in your own home and told you to deal with it or handle it yourself. He's currently experiencing FAFO. He deserves to feel as uncomfortable around his family as he's been okay with you feeling all of these years. And as far as the stay-at-home mom thing, even if it were affordable for most people, which isn't the case, it's not the best choice for everyone. I'm a stay-at-home mom and my sister isn't. Both of us have great kids. Some people are better moms because they work and there's nothing wrong with that. And most people have to either work or sacrifice a lot, like my family has, in order to make that work. If hubby didn't want them to know the truth, then he should have shut them down. And if they have that much money, they can find a hotel instead of leeching off of you guys and insulting you in your own home. Apparently money doesn't buy class in this instance.
Agree. It doesn't matter that she needs to work to meet expenses. If they were wealthy and could afford to have a SAHB, still doesn't mean she should be the one to stay at home, or either of them.
Not the a-hole. Your husband wants you to stand up for yourself, and you did. You are not staying at home in part because their son does not earn enough for you to stay at home. It's telling that your husband did not mind when you were being put down, but is now angry because his family will look down on him. Like, I wonder how he justifies the double standard.
Not the a-hole. Your husband should have nipped the shitty comments in the bud while he had the chance. They pushed you into a corner and you gave an honest response. Am I the a-hole for starting a fight over groceries? My husband and I are from entirely different cultures. His family has always been overbearing, especially his mother. He has always helped them out financially or with food. He had 6 siblings, and his parents were always struggling. This was fine until he was laid off from his good-paying tech job, and we had to start budgeting. He still gives his family money to the point that I already opened a non-joint checking account, and I have my checks directly deposited there to make sure bills are paid. I come home early from work, and his mom goes through our freezer and fills up bags of food for herself and her adult children who still live at home. I lost my shit on his mom, who has always been a homemaker, and told her to get a job and stop stealing our food. My husband, her, and I got into this huge screaming match after I spoke to his mother. How I'm not supporting an able-bodied adult who can get a job, and they need to assimilate into our culture now that his family lives here because food is too fucking expensive for her shop from my fridge. This escalated to me being called names insensitive and worse. I packed 2 suitcases in front of his mother and I am staying with my family. I do not care if an eviction is on my credit report and I'm no longer helping out him or his freeloading family. I have had lots of slurs towards me over the last few days when my husband has tried to talk to me about our debts, and I told him he could sue me, but I know right now he cannot afford the place we live in, the utilities, or even food, so I really don't care about him or his freeloading family right now.
Not the a-hole, you're not an a-hole, which you seem to know already.
I have repeatedly been called racist over this.
Why is it racist to establish a budget, and you want to pay your own bills? Each individual needs to be self-reliant. If the parents are too old, then I get the help part. But mom going through your fridge is excessive. Not the a-hole.
Not the a-hole, the fight isn't over groceries. It's over your husband prioritizing taking care of his mother, and siblings over you and your future with him.
Exactly. I am sure there is more to this than just groceries. This was simply the last straw.
Don't ruin your credit. Give 30 days notice. Fuck your husband, he can move with mom.
Obviously not the a-hole. But this marriage is over, you know that, right? He's not going to stop giving his mother siblings money, and will continue to expect you finance their lives for them.
Update. I have a meeting with the landlord tomorrow work and an attorney next week to start the divorce paperwork. The landlord would rather me stay since I'm working and have my husband leave. The attorney and the landlord said they would work together on this. Husband offered to get any job if I don't leave him or cut off his family, but I think it's too late for that.
Am I the a-hole for telling my friend it's not my problem she married a useless man? I, 32 female, am a single mother of 2 kids, 6 male and 5 male F. I am a single mother by choice, my kids are donor conceived. I am lucky enough to have a good job, French teacher in a private school, and a paid-off house, parents' life insurance and inheritance. Before I had either of my kids, I made sure to have a year's living expenses saved, then I would take a sabbatical to recover from birth, as well as bond with my kids. While on sabbatical, I still tutor some kids for some extra income. My friend, 34 female, just had a baby 2 months ago. She is the breadwinner in her household, and her husband has been unemployed since he was laid off during COVID. It was great to be pregnant at the same time, as well as having a friend with a newborn. But it has turned sour. She has been saying how jealous she is of me being able to take off a whole year from work, how she would have loved to not worry about losing their home, how she doesn't even have a couple $100s in her savings account, let alone a whole year's worth of living expenses. I usually ignore it, or brush it off, because I kind of can understand the stress she is under. Well, starting about 10 days ago, she started hinting at not being able to afford daycare, and any mention of her husband taking care of their kid is brushed off. Then she started remarking on how much free time I must have, which I deflected by saying truthfully that being a single mom to a baby and a small kid left me no free time actually. Then last night she came out with it, and asked if I could do her a favor and watch her kid while she's at work. I was firm, but polite, when I said that I couldn't, that I am not capable of watching 2 kids under 6 months. She started almost begging me, saying she can't afford daycare, and if she is not back at work, she will lose her job, and they will end up homeless. I again brought up her husband, and she said that he was not good with kids, and isn't capable of taking care of her kid. I kept saying no, she kept pushing, until it escalated to her calling me heartless, and me telling her that it's not my problem she chose to have a kid with a useless man. Now she blocked me. I am feeling very guilty about what I said, and feeling like an a-hole.
Eek. Not the a-hole. I think there were no a-holes here up to the point of her pressing you to do this favor, which she shouldn't have asked for in the first place. You're exactly right that it's not your problem that she is in this situation, and while I do think a heavy dose of empathy is important to your friendship, her having a husband who isn't employed and cannot contribute to the child care she needs is a problem that she needs to solve. It is annoying and impractical for her to think the answer here is for you to provide child care. It is dismissive of the fact that you are busy already, and you only have about 7 months remaining of the time you've allowed yourself to be on hiatus, so it's a short-term solution. It's too bad that she's letting her situation cloud her judgment. You are not heartless, and that was an unfair response for her to have had, and inappropriate behavior all throughout this interaction.
It's not even 5 months. I have to be back by September for the new school year.
Unless the husband is bedbound or otherwise physically incapable of work or childcare, he needs to pull his finger out of his arse and step up to parent his own child. And if she isn't going to make him, she needs to leave him and claim for child support. Yes, if he's not going to get a job, this won't do much, but at least she'll have one less mouth to feed. Could you have said it more kindly? Maybe, but she should have kept pushing when you said no. You are not the a-hole. OP.
Unless he has an invisible disability, I think he is very much capable of taking care of their kid. All she would say when I asked about him raising his own kid is that he is not good with kids, doesn't know how to take care of infants, and is just not an option for childcare.
Not the a-hole. Tell her when she's lucky enough to have her parents die, maybe she can have a paid-for house too. Extreme sarcasm here. She is no longer your friend and you need to set boundaries and exit this friendship.
This is actually a point I brought up before. I told her many times that I would rather have my parents alive than meeting their grandkids than to have a paid-off home. She would say sorry, that's not how I meant it, then would go on to bring it up again.
Not the a-hole. We all have been unemployed at some point or struggled for money. I get that. What I don't get is how her husband has been unemployed for almost 4 years. Even if it's burger flipping or door dashing until something better comes along, he could have figured something out. And on top of that, he's not good with kids? She had a baby with someone who isn't good with kids? Maybe it was a little harsh that you called her husband useless, but he, in fact, is useless if he isn't capable of taking care of his own baby while his wife works. He needs to pick a struggle. She's mad you're not helping her, and I'm willing to bet she's mad because you made her realize that having a baby with this useless man was a mistake on her part. Either way, not the a-hole. She kept pushing, so you pushed back.
From what I understand, he had a middle management position, mainly because he has been working for the same establishment since he graduated high school. After being laid off, he couldn't get a similar position and fell into a depressive state.
Not the a-hole. Real-life decisions, when made without proper planning and thoughtful consideration, lead to real-life consequences. It is not your job to bail her out of a situation that she created for herself. You approached your situation with thoughtfulness and foresight. She, on the other hand, gave no thought whatsoever to her situation. Knowing he would have been useless even before she got pregnant, she still decided to put herself at risk.
Am I the a-hole for taking back a gift after I learned the birthday person would not be the one using it? My daughter, Jenny, 13, has a best friend, Morgan, nearly 13. The two of them spend a lot of time together at our place. I do not know Morgan's mother very well, as Jenny doesn't often go to their house. This is mainly because Morgan's house is a little chaotic. She has 4 siblings. Jenny is an only child and Morgan has said she likes the quiet. Morgan has done a lot of stuff with us. I occasionally enter radio online competitions and will win tickets to certain local events. When I won for tickets to a concert last year, Jenny and I brought Morgan along with one other friend. We all had a blast. Recently, I won another pair of tickets to a concert that I planned to attend with Jenny. A few days after, I was told about a work trip that I have to take that falls that weekend. Jenny usually comes with me. So, Jenny suggested we give the tickets to Morgan for her birthday. She could either go with another friend or her mom. I checked with Morgan's mom before we mentioned this to Morgan and she said that was fine. Last night, Morgan was at our house and she seemed upset. When I asked why, she said her mom was taking her brother to the concert because her brother has never been to a concert before. I asked if Morgan's brother even liked the band and Morgan said no. It was just the principle of the matter. Morgan and her other 3 siblings have been to concerts. He hasn't, and since they can't afford stuff like this, he gets to go. I found this unfair and honestly a waste of tickets. I called Morgan's mom to double-check this story and she confirmed it all, including her 11-year-old son barely knowing anything about the band. I said I'm sorry, but I don't feel right giving these as a birthday gift anymore, as these were for Morgan. I said we'd give them to Jenny and Morgan's other friend who I know likes the band, and we'll get Morgan something else for her birthday. Morgan is fine with this. Morgan's mom is pissed and says I'm trying to tell her how to parent. I don't think I am, because if a different friend gave Morgan the tickets and it was the same result, as shitty as I'd find her mom doing this, I wouldn't say anything, as that's not my business. As I am giving the tickets, I want them to go to Morgan. I'd also maybe feel different if the brother loved the band too, but as he doesn't, I don't want to give them. So here I am left wondering if I'm being an ass here.
Not the a-hole. Please tell you are just as curious as to what is really going on, cause that's insane. Why is her mom dragging a kid to a concert if the kid doesn't even want to go? If we were friends, I would volunteer my own money to Morgan's mom to take lil bro to a concert he may actually enjoy, cause why? Talk about an utter waste. Kid's gonna hate it, Morgan is gonna be pissed, you're gonna be pissed. Does the mom like the band? But then why bring uninterested kid? I do not get it. Morgan's mom is going through something. I feel bad for her cause clearly something else is afoot. This is the dumbest of all possible plans. Why is she fighting for it? I would love to know what's really going on, seriously. I would feel better if Morgan's mom just took the tickets herself and went on a date. I could understand that. Mother of 5 really wanting to go out? Okay. I understand. Still an a-hole move, but at least I understand.
Mom doesn't even like the band either. It's a group directed at teens. Not saying adults can't like it, but she's said it's not her thing and she's only going as the 11-year-old and Morgan are too young to go together. I suspect Mom has a lot of guilt about not being able to afford these things and is trying to make it fair without realizing equality equals equity. Yes, now all 5 kids will have gone to a concert, but the other 4 have seen bands they enjoy. This kid is going to a concert he won't enjoy, just in the spirit of first concert.
Not the a-hole. Morgan's mom is pissed and says I'm trying to tell her how to parent. I mean, somebody needs to.
Not the a-hole. You hadn't given the tickets yet, so the only thing you took back was an offer. It's reasonable to expect that a gift to someone, even a child, won't be intercepted. What you did was restore order the tickets go to someone who will enjoy them, and Morgan actually gets a birthday gift.
Not the a-hole. The parent does not own their daughter's property just because they are a parent. If Morgan wanted to re-gift the tickets, that's her choice to do so. To have them stolen from her by her parent is reprehensible.
Not the a-hole. As much as I understand Morgan's mom wants to give equal opportunity to her son as the other siblings, it's Morgan's birthday gift coming from you and that wasn't your intention. She should have just accepted it and say okay and figure out a way to take her son to a concert that he'd actually enjoy.
What do you think of these stories? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel to see more interesting videos.